It's a girl? Oh yeah, you're right about that.
She can violate my rights if...
Hey!
Number 10. Feeling Krabby. As with most family-friendly series, Pokemon is stuffed full of silly jokes, although we don't think they completely thought through one instance in the franchise's second film. As it transitions into a new scene, we overhear the punchline of a joke, but none of the build-up, meaning we're only left with the unfortunate phrase, "I have Krabbies."
And she says, no, but I have Krabbies.
While we can reasonably assume the intent was to reference the Pokemon Krabby, out of context, it implies something decisively not kid-friendly. Fueling the fire is that the line doesn't make sense within Pokemon pronunciation, since Krabby is used as both the singular and plural form of the species.
Hey, wait! Stay here! Don't go! Come back!
They either screwed up their own rules, or were very aware of the word's implications. Number 9. James's personal letters. The blue-haired fiend of Team Rocket has always leaned towards the zany and ridiculous, but this joke was a bit much even for him. In the third Pokemon film, as James and the others are being swarmed by Unknown, he comments that he hasn't seen this many letters since he placed a personal ad.
I haven't seen this many strange letters since the last time I placed a personal ad.
While you can interpret this any number of ways, looking back on it as an adult, it's hard not to default to something inappropriate. Maybe we'd think differently if it didn't come from James, who is certainly one of the more scandalous characters in the series. Number 8. Vikings and Football. The Pokemon Company must have known kids would drag their parents to see the first major pocket monster flick, as yet again a feature contains a joke that could only be directed at Western adults.
You want to cross, maybe? We take you, yeah? We Vikings are used to big wave.
When Team Rocket disguises themselves as Vikings to ferry our heroes across the sea, Ash remarks that the only Buccaneers left are supposed to be living in Minnesota, a cheeky reference to the Minnesota Vikings football team.
I didn't know Vikings still existed.
They mostly live in Minnesota.
Unless they live there, most kids probably miss this joke, but it surely perked up the American parents who had been dragged to the theaters. Number 7. Brock's love. This Pewter City gym leader has always struggled to restrain his more sensual urges, and while it usually results in a harmless jest on his behalf, his first meeting with Cynthia implied something a bit more crude. Brock comments that he wants to be in the Sinnoh champion's arms, which sounds innocent enough until you realize Cynthia is currently licking an ice cream cone.
More ravishing live than on TV. I should be in her arms instead of ice cream.
With how often Brock makes these kinds of remarks, this one is easy to slip through the cracks. But it's impossible to unhear once you realize just what he means. Yeah, we're totally with Dawn on this one. Number 6. Blasting off prematurely. There are 3 things certain in life: death, taxes, and Team Rocket blasting off again.
We're blasting off again!
After hundreds of episodes, they began to shake up their usual motto, but that led to this lewd joke that implies something altogether different.
We're blasting off again!
To be fair, they technically are blasting off prematurely, even if the double entendre feels specifically written as an innuendo.
Already? We're blasting off prematurely!
Team Rocket shakes up their shtick enough for this to go right over a child's head, but for our sake, we're glad they went back to their classic blast-off phrase in the future. Number 5. Brock's Love Part 2. While we didn't think it possible, Brock might be even lewder in his early days than he was when he first saw Cynthia. While saying you would let Giselle violate his rights certainly crosses a line, it's even weirder when you realize she's a student, and even worse, a tutor.
It's a girl? Oh yeah, you're right about that.
She can violate my rights if...
Hey!
It definitely feels like the show was winking at the popular student-teacher dynamic, though thankfully this line is as far as the relationship goes.
Top student in the beginning class of the most exclusive prep school in the world.
Even though most of Pokemon's audience probably wouldn't think twice about this one-liner, we hope Brock lays off the Officer Jenny fantasies. Number 4. Brock's Love Part 3. Man, Ash's longtime companion really does have a penchant for this stuff, doesn't he?
Bye, guys, and thanks. Bye, Casey. Good luck on your journey.
Completing the trifecta of Brock's dubious flirtations is this moment with recurring trainer Casey that, if said today, would probably get him tossed in jail. With flushed cheeks, Brock says that she'll become an interesting young lady one day, and then wonders if she has a sister.
That Casey's gonna be a very interesting young lady. I wonder if she has a sister.
While asking about a sibling is about as virtuous as Brock gets, the first half of this comment, coupled with his expression, takes on a much more uncomfortable meaning upon rewatching. Although at this point, we shouldn't even be surprised anymore. Number 3 from James's closet. We don't think there's any character in the whole franchise who could wear a Moltres costume as confidently as this. However, the best part of the scene comes from Jessie and Meowth, who discuss their blue-haired comrade in a way fans had already been doing for years.
A flame that lights the night, a flame that shadows the darkness.
While he's always been flamboyant, it's still a surprise to hear Jessie claim that the costume came right out of James's closet, which is a not-so-subtle wink at the long-standing fan theories that James could be a part of the LGBTQ+ community.
That outfit! Where'd he get it?
I think that costume came right out of his closet.
Regardless, with how eagerly he struts his stuff, we wouldn't be surprised if he wore this getup a few times before.
I told you Moltres would triumph, now I'm flying high.
Why do I feel low?
Team Rocket's blasting off again!
Number 2, Inappropriate Ampharos. While there's a reasonable argument to be made that a lot of adult jokes in children's shows are simply people looking too deeply into harmless interactions, it's hard to find any context in which this is supposed to be kid-friendly. An Ampharos trying to get the attention of a Mareep sounds innocuous, but the framing of the sequence implies something much, much worse. With the looping motion and pained expression on Mareep's face, it's all but impossible to misconstrue. If the angle was 45 degrees in either direction, it would be totally fine. But instead, we're left with the worst way anyone has ever gotten a Pokemon's attention. Number 1, Team Rocket's complaining. We nearly had it, folks. We nearly had a character cursing in the Pokemon anime. When Jessie and James rush to a medical clinic for a cure to their severe athlete's foot, they deliver a humorous variation on their motto.
Which one of you was making that sound?
However, they write themselves into a corner when the word James has left a rhyme with is itching. As it goes on, it's clear the only phrase that could reasonably fit is bitching, but after a noticeable pause, he instead says the non-rhyming complaining.
But we've been having some trouble.
So prescribe us some ointment on the double.
To protect us from all that chafing and itching.
It might finally stop all of Jessie's complaining.
James's hesitation is a clear sign that they knew exactly what they were doing, and left the implication as a gag for older audiences. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.